Level 1. Number 1. Mixed signals. Now tell me this. When do you keep moving on red, but stop when it's green? You have only 10 seconds to figure out this paradox. You ignore red and stop at green when you're eating a watermelon. Number 2. A glider on the border. A glider pilot lost control of his aircraft and crash-landed right on the border between the US and Canada, with one wing in each country. Which country will get the engine? Neither. Gliders don't have engines. 3. Mysterious bills. There are 2 bills lying on the table. Their total sum is $51. What are these bills if the first one isn't a $1 bill? The first one is a $50 bill, and the second is a $1 bill. 4. The unfairness of life. People buy me to eat, but after that, they never actually eat me. Will 10 seconds be enough for you to figure out what I am? Well, it's understandable if they don't want to eat me. I'm a plate. 5. No water, please. You can drop me from any height. You can even throw me from a skyscraper and I'll be fine. But once you drop me in the water, I won't survive. What am I? I'm paper. So keep me away from water, thank you very much. 6. What's left? Take away the whole, and some still remain. What is it? You have 10 seconds to figure it out. It's wholesome. Level 2. Number 7. How many squares? Look at this picture and try to count all the squares you see here. Remember that sometimes you need to think outside the box. If you're attentive enough, you've figured out that there are 7 squares hidden in this picture. 8. Choose a door. You're locked in a dungeon with some food and a bucket of enough water to survive for 3 days. There are 3 doors leading out of the dungeon, and one of them may bring you to freedom. But behind the first door, there's a polar bear with a newborn cub. The second door hides a big lake swarming with hungry crocodiles. And behind the third door, there's a 6-foot-tall fire. Which door should you choose to save your life? The bear behind the first door will do everything to protect its cub, and it will definitely attack you if you try to sneak past. And I doubt you'll want to deal with hungry crocodiles. But you can distract the crocodiles with your food and use your bucket to extinguish the fire with the water from the lake. 9. The wrong sum. I have an equation where something has gone wrong. Look, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 555. You should add just one line to make this sum true. Use the line I provided you to turn plus into 4. In this case, 545 plus 5 is indeed 555. 10. The egg's cost. You go to the shop and buy an egg and a chicken. The total cost of these products is 108 coins. But the chicken is 100 coins more expensive than the egg. So, how much does the egg cost? You have only 10 seconds to do your math. I think there are very few people whose first instinct isn't to say 8 coins. But 100 minus 8 doesn't give us the 100 coin difference. The cost of the egg is actually 4 coins. 11. An age paradox. A boy was 11 years old in 1990. But in 1995, the same boy was 10. How is it possible? You have 10 seconds to crack this riddle. The boy was born in 2005 BCE. That's why he was 10 in 1995 BCE and 15 in 1990 BCE. 12. The right store. Emma is near a store. She can't read the sign on this store, but she knows for sure that she needs to go inside and buy something. What shop is she standing next to? Emma is near an eyewear store. 13. A fake coin. Once a man found a coin with 10 BCE mark on it. Realizing the thing was very old, he took it to an expert. But the expert didn't bother to examine the coin and told the man outright that the thing was fake. How did he understand this fact? People who lived BCE didn't realize that they were, well, living before the current era. This designation appeared only after the beginning of the era we live in. Level 3. Number 14. A fallen signpost. A traveler was walking in an unfamiliar area when he reached an intersection, but the signpost had fallen and the man didn't know how to choose the right road. Can you figure out how to do it? The traveler most likely knew the name of the city he had left some time before, and this knowledge could help him to position the signpost correctly. 15. Make a square. Look at this shape made of matchsticks. You're allowed to move just 2 of them to make a square. 10 seconds for you to figure out how to do it. There are 2 ways how you can make a square by moving just 2 matchsticks. But if you found any other way, ring off in the comments. 16. How many eggs? If 3 hens lay 3 eggs in 3 days, how many eggs will 12 hens lay in 12 days? I immediately realized there was a catch in this riddle, and indeed, the answer isn't 144. If 1 hen lays 1 egg in 3 days, it will mean that it will lay 4 eggs in 12 days. That's why 12 hens will provide you with 48 eggs in 12 days. Level 4. 17. Light bulbs and switches. You have 2 rooms that are completely isolated from each other. There are 3 switches in one room and 3 light bulbs in the other. You're in the room with the switches, and you're allowed to go to the other room only once. How can you determine which switch is connected to each of the bulbs? Turn on switch number 1. Wait for a minute or so and turn it off again. Then turn on the second switch and go inside the room with the bulbs. One of the bulbs will be on and is connected to the second switch. Touch the remaining bulbs. The one which is a bit warm is connected to the first switch, and the cold one is linked to switch number 3. Number 18. A weird nickname. My dad is a chemist, and my mom is a mathematician. It might be the reason why they call me Iron 59. Ugh. But can you guess my real name? My real name is Felix. The thing is that in the periodic table, the chemical symbol Fe means iron, and the Roman numeral Lix stands for 59. Are you still with me? Wow! Even if you haven't managed to solve all the riddles, you get extra points for your persistence. But if you have cracked all the brain teasers I threw your way, you're most likely a genius, and I'm not kidding here. Number 1. Sam and his brother John were always fighting. Their mom couldn't take it any longer and came up with a clever plan to stop them. She told the boys to stand on the same piece of paper in such a way that they didn't touch each other, and it worked. The boys couldn't fight anymore. How did she do it? The woman slipped the paper under a closed door and made Sam stand on one side and John on the other. 2. Two planes took off at the same moment. One departed from New York and headed for Paris, and the other left Paris and flew to New York. The first plane's speed was 650 miles per hour, and the other one was going 700 miles per hour. Which plane was closer to Paris when they met over the Atlantic? They were both the same distance from Paris since they met in the same place. 3. What always goes up when it rains? An umbrella. 4. One day, a teacher decided to give her students a test, but all of them refused to take it. She could give detention for skipping the test to only one student. All of them knew each other's names. If a student knew they were going to get detention, they agreed to take the test. How could the teacher make all of the students take it? She told them she'd give detention to the student whose name came first alphabetically. Then this person wouldn't skip the test. The next person on the list wouldn't skip as well, and so on until the end of the list. 5. You have 2 coins that together make 35 cents, and one of the coins isn't a dime. What are these 2 coins? A dime and a quarter. Huh? If one of the coins isn't a dime, then the other is. 6. There's a barrel full of water in the yard. You look inside and say that it's more than half full, but your friend argues that it's less than half full. How can you figure out who's right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Tilt the barrel so that the water touches its rim. If you can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more. 7. A blind man comes into an electronics store and wants to buy a cell phone. There are lots of gadgets on the shelves, but the man can't see them. And still, 10 minutes later, he leaves the store with the very phone model he'd wanted. How did he manage it? The man was blind, not mute. He just asked a shop assistant to sell him the phone he was after. 8. James escaped from prison and ran for the countryside. Suddenly, on a small, deserted road, he saw a police car heading right at him. James ran toward the car for some time, then turned and rushed into the woods. Why did he run toward the car first? James was in the middle of a bridge when he saw the car. He had to run toward the vehicle to get off the bridge. 9. Can you make 1,000 by using only 8 eighths and addition? 888 plus 88 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 1,000. 10. Two people who have never seen each other before meet at a store, start a conversation, and go for a walk in the park. One of them is the father of the other's daughter. How is all this possible? They're a couple, both blind from birth, so they've indeed never seen each other. 11. Your company produces shoes and has 2 factories in different cities. The workers in both plants steal shoes. You can't use any additional security, but you have to stop the theft. How can you do it? One factory should start making only left shoes, and the other only right ones. 12. A person spent 3 days in the hospital and was perfectly healthy, and still, they had to be carried away while leaving. Why? It was a newborn baby. 13. Take 9 from 6, 10 from 9, and 50 from 40 so that you are left with 6. 6 minus 9 ix equals s. 9 ix minus 10 x equals I. 40 xl minus 50 l equals x. Now you see? 14. There are 6 glasses in a row on the table. The first 3 are filled with orange juice and the other 3 are empty. Because, well, I drank them. Oops. Your task is to make full and empty glasses alternate by moving just one glass. How can you do it? Take the second glass and pour the juice into the 5th glass. 15. Find a way to get 200 out of 188 by using just one line. Use the line to cut 188 horizontally. This way, you'll get 2 100s. 16. One person was 25 years old in 2000 and 20 years old in 2005. How is this possible? This person lived in BCE times. 17. Can you give someone $63 without using a $1 bill? Easily. 50 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals $63. 18. Let's imagine you don't know what an elephant looks like. One day, you're going on a safari to watch animals with your friends. One of them points at a rhino and tells you it's an elephant. The other shows you a hippo and claims that it's an elephant. Who will you believe and why? The task was to imagine that you didn't know what an elephant looked like, not that you didn't know what a hippo and a rhino are. It means you won't believe either of your friends. 19. Michael Adams, who disliked what passed for art in modern times, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Adams for his actions. How come? Michael was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. 20. One man went to his friend's party and told his wife he'd be back before sunrise. He shaved and left home. He returned, as promised, before sunrise, but he was sporting a long, thick beard. How come? The man and his wife lived in a place with polar nights that can last for several months. 21. When you look for something, you always find it in the last place you search. Why so? It's always the last place you look because, after this, you don't need to continue your search. 22. An egg has to fall 100 feet, but you can't let it break. You can't slow down its fall or cushion its landing. How can you do it? Drop the egg from a height greater than 100 feet, and it won't break for the first 100 feet. 23. Why are pianos so hard to open? Well, the keys are inside. 24. Newlyweds left for their honeymoon and asked their neighbor to look after their house. When they returned, the woman found out that she'd lost all her expensive jewelry because of a power outage. The woman had hidden her jewelry in a supposed safe place. The house wasn't robbed. The neighbor was an honest person. The jewelry got lost on accident. What happened? The wife hid her jewelry in the freezer in a bag with frozen food. After the power failure, all the food spoiled. The kind-hearted neighbor decided to help and threw away all the bad food, together with the jewelry. 25. What is as big as a mountain but weighs nothing? The mountain's shadow. And now, let's see how good you are at cracking riddles. If your score is 0 to 5 correct answers, you're still a riddle newbie. You've got a lot of practicing to do. 6 to 10 solved puzzles. Your level is sophomore. Not the worst, but you could get better. 11 to 15 riddles. You're competent when it comes to analytical thinking, right smack in the middle. 16 to 20 correct answers. You're proficient in riddle solving. You're almost at the top. Keep practicing. 20 to 25. You're the master of riddles. You should be proud.